Joining us now is Susan Church. She is an immigration attorney in Massachusetts who has spent the day today with some of the Venezuelan migrants who have been victims of Governor DeSantis's plan. Mrs. Church, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
So can you tell us what the current status of these migrants is, where they are, what resources are being allocated to them, and generally what their state of mind is?
So they have been moved from Martha's Vineyard to the Otis Air Force Base voluntarily. They were a little scared to get on the bus today after what had already happened to them with Governor DeSantis, but with the help of some immigration lawyers who are on the team, they were convinced to go. They're voluntarily. They're really confused and don't know why this has happened to them. I read reports and have talked to many of these individuals, and they're just wondering why the world is doing this to them, really why the governor of Florida is doing this to them. They're hoping that they can get their status straightened out. They're hoping that they can get their lives straightened out. They were all fleeing terror in their home countries, and now they're facing the same sort of terror here, and they're hoping it ends soon.
What of their immigration status? I think a lot, if not almost all of these folks were in the process of having scheduled hearings. Those hearings, I am assuming, are nowhere near Boston. How is this affecting their immigration status and their court proceedings? So
everyone here is someone who's been, everyone that I've seen so far was paroled in, which is a lawful status, which allows you to then seek asylum or other forms of relief in immigration court. The courts are scattered everywhere. There are people with courts in Utah, Texas, California. I've seen them everywhere. People were lied to, by the way, about where they were going, and many people had asked for different locations and thought that they were going there. So it's very confusing to their immigration status because it really takes a lawyer to move a case from Utah to Boston, which is now where their case has to be heard. There's another problem with trying to check in with ICE. They all had scheduled ICE check-ins with different locations. We're trying to relocate those and get those set up so that they're all located in Massachusetts. And it's really not something that you can handle without the help of an attorney. So it's good many people have volunteered to do so.
Could they be considered victims of a crime perpetrated by Governor DeSantis here? I know that there are a number of different statutes that might apply. Could this be kidnapping? It doesn't sound like it's human trafficking, but the misleading nature of all of this, could that in turn actually favorably affect their immigration application?
I'm very happy you asked that because I do think a crime has been committed here. Let's start with I won't go through all of them, but kidnapping. Kidnapping is not an allegation of force. It can be done with an allegation of fraud. So clearly they were fraudulently put onto the plane, confined, dropped off in Martha's Vineyard. I think kidnapping has some strong investigatory aspects that need to be taken on that. RICO, so the Racketeering and Influence Corruption Act, that requires 2 predicate acts involving certain crimes. This sounds like we've got some large-scale cooperation between DeSantis and Governor Abbott. Whoever bought the planes is involved. There's a RICO charge. And Massachusetts has its own civil rights statute that also has significant ramifications for a case like this. So there's a lot to be looked at and a lot to be investigated here.
And if they are victims of a crime, they could be eligible for something called a U visa. Is that right?
That is correct, and even better than that. So a U visa is a document that a local law enforcement agency, any of our local Massachusetts law enforcement agencies, can investigate a crime, and then they sign a certification, and then that's filed with immigration. And it takes a long time to get a U visa, but most of these individuals, from what I'm seeing, would be prima facie eligible for a U visa as long as we got the certification. But even better than that, in Massachusetts, we are one of the very limited jurisdictions where a pending U visa is essentially issued by the First Circuit a decision saying you cannot deport somebody while they have a U visa pending. So even though U visa may take 7 years, they cannot be removed from the country, whereas other people in similar jurisdictions would be removed while awaiting their U visa to be processed. So they've removed the individuals to one of the very few jurisdictions in the country where they will be protected by their criminal acts of DeSantis and Governor Abbott.
Amazing. The the thoughtlessness, the cruelty is backfiring in spectacular fashion. Susan Church, immigration attorney in Massachusetts, thank you so much for your time and for everything that you are doing.
Thank you.